We are a week away from the schedule coming out, and we got some dreams and some wishes and some requests to make to the NFL on today's show. Big trade was made in the league, and we're going to talk to Fran Duffy about next year's draft. Why not? CHGO Bears starts right now. Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast on a beautiful Wednesday in the greatest city in the world. My name's Adam Hoge. Welcome in. Got a fun show for you today as the NFL schedule is just a week away. Mark Carman is sitting next to me today on the show. We got Steven producing. And after the last 48 hours, there's a new rule at CHGO where no one is allowed to refer to me as Hollywood anything anymore. Yeah, no, I have been replaced.
You have, and I don't know how you're feeling about that, but Greg Braggs has been followed around by a commercial shoot for the last 2 days and has had makeup following him, has had every food product that we have in the city offered to him, and I don't know where he is right now. He was here a second ago, but I think
he's left the show. He's gone. He is way bigger than us now.
I think he's in massage. I think
Wait,
he's
there was a masseuse here this entire time?
No,
I know there was a lot of people, but I missed the masseuse.
I think I didn't see the masseuse either, but that's just my speculation that after all the hard work that he did the last 2 days, he probably has some spa appointment down the street, and we won't see him until next week.
If you missed yesterday's show, we have this partnership with Walmart Business who's coming in and filming a commercial here. It's been really cool. I learned a lot. Yesterday was also exhausting.
You
and apparently I missed the best part.
You left. Okay, I don't want to, tip off anything on the commercial with Walmart Business, but first of all, the fact that Greg was able to be integral in having this happen. Shout out Braggs for real on that. And but my role, one of my scenes yesterday, did not require me to talk. It required me to do.
I had one of those too.
The most basic thing of all time, and they had me do it 1,000 times, and I don't think I got it right in any of the 1,000 times. I literally left so unbelievably disappointed in myself. Like I can't even be a commercial actor.
Yeah.
You know what? For all the Carm haters out there, you would have loved how poorly I did on this commercial. Hopefully they'll, it won't look as bad as I think it's going to look, and it really shouldn't, because it was the easiest thing ever, but somehow I just was not getting it done. It's like, no, don't bob your head 3 times. Just once, please. I'm like, and then the next time I'd do the same exact thing. I couldn't stop myself.
Yeah, I was getting photos. It looked good.
Yeah.
People were texting me.
It was horrible.
So we're Braggsless today is the moral of that story. And he may never come back. We're a week away from the schedule coming out.
Yeah, buddy.
Which is always a funny thing because I'll raise my hand. I get really excited about it, even though we know all the opponents. Steven, do we have the opponents ready to go now, or is that a later thing? Yeah. So we do know that the Bears' schedule of opponents, thanks to the Bears for this right here, looks like this. You got your divisional opponents, as always, home and on the road. You look at the home games. Cowboys, Matt Eberflus's return. Giants, they're desperate. Browns, they're desperate. Steelers are trading players away every given moment of the day. And the Saints, who are terrible. Home schedule looks great. Road schedule, different story. Baltimore Ravens, pretty damn good. Bengals, Joe Burrow, Philadelphia Eagles, they won a Super Bowl last year. Washington, we don't have to talk about what happened there last year. San Francisco, we don't have to talk about what happened there last year either. And then there's the Raiders, which is a winnable road game, which probably will be filled with 80% Bears fans inside that stadium in Las Vegas. It's a very interesting schedule. There's a lot of interesting storylines. So we thought we would give a wish list for games, where we want them on the calendar, what network we want them on, who we want calling them. And we are confident that the NFL will listen to all of these requests and grant them next Wednesday when the schedule comes out.
And spoiler alert on my preferences here, I did them strictly for me.
Oh, you went full selfishness?
I went full how I would like my life to go next Bears football season. So, with all due respect to so many of you diehard Bear fans out there, and we appreciate the support, hit the subscribe button as we're creeping towards, 85,000 is the next big milestone, I guess, along the way here to 100. Shows it Monday through Friday at noon. Breaking news will be with you, by the way, tomorrow at 2 and Saturday at 2, right? That's correct?
Friday, Saturday.
Tomorrow. Yeah, right, Friday and Saturday. I'm sorry. Tomorrow we're having...
Tomorrow, we will have something on the feed for you tomorrow, but technically the live show is off the air tomorrow.
Yeah. So, at any rate, I did this, though, for me.
Okay. Well, let's start with opening night. I will give my first official request. Bring that smoke. Go into Philly. Week 1, opening night, Bears, Eagles in Philadelphia. Get featured in the first game of the season nationally. Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams. It would not be easy. I would imagine the Eagles would be 5.5-point favorites, 4.5. Steven's saying more.
Yeah, I hate that idea. I the only
those of you who are scared,
right here,
don't want that matchup. I think it would be great for the league. I think it'd be great for the Bears. I think it'd be great for Ben Johnson. Win or lose. I'm not saying they win the game, but embrace the attention that you're about to get. So I'm all in.
So you want to makeshift. I'm not saying it's not going to be great and they'll find their footing here, but you want a first-year offensive line working together. Hey, first test, go block the Eagles.
Well, here's the thing I know. A couple years ago, the Lions were an up-and-coming team. They had a coach named Ben Johnson who was leading that offense, and they got scheduled to go into Kansas City on opening night and go face the Chiefs. The Chiefs were heavily favored as the Super Bowl champions. And who won that game?
Didn't that team come off an unbelievable second half of the season where they won every game except for the one that they needed to win?
They finished. Yeah, they beat the Packers.
Slightly different than the Bears situation. Just a slight difference there. I like where you're. Hey, listen, you want all that smoke? That's cool. I hear you. My opener, I'll start my list there. I want to see a winnable game. I'd like to play at home because home openers are sweet. And I want Matt Eberflus to make his way to Soldier Field. Let's go. Let's open with the Flus. Let's open with Dallas. Let's have that storyline. Let's see him squirming around over there. Let's see him walk out of the field. Let's put that. Let's do a Nancy Faust who's coming back to the White Sox. Nana, hey, goodbye. Let's blame Flus for everything that's happened the last couple of years. Walk him out of Soldier Field. Give me the Dallas Cowboys Week 1 at home.
Week 1, okay. I also had this on my list. This matchup as we sort of jump around here. My only request for the Cowboys Flus revenge game is that it's just in prime time. I don't care if it's on Thursday. I don't care if it's on Sunday, Monday, whatever. Maybe that's a Thanksgiving option. Well, no, it's in Chicago. Never mind. I take that sentence back. But Flus coming back to Soldier Field, put that game in prime time. It's Cowboys Bears. It should be in prime time anyway. So I don't care what week it is. I don't care which night it is. I just want it in prime time, in a standalone window, so we get the full Flus versus Ben Johnson experience.
No problem with that. That's fine. We can play the Cowboys in prime time. Should I give you my second game?
Yeah, go next. Whichever one you want to go with.
Well, I don't want to. Well, let's see. My primetime games. Let's go to. I'd like to actually play Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers on a nice little Thursday nighter. Let's go short week. Old man Rodgers not recovering. Let's give Mike Tomlin less preparation for the Bears. Let's smoke the Steelers and beat Aaron. So you need to do it for the Bears, Aaron. You need to sign with the Steelers. Quit playing around here. I know they don't have George Pickens anymore. We'll talk about that coming up in a little while. But let's just make that happen. Let's beat Pittsburgh. Let's do it on a Thursday night, and let's put that thing to bed.
So I also got specific on this matchup. And by the way, interesting schedule quirk. Aaron Rodgers is not technically a Steeler. Assumed he will be. Maybe.
We know you will be. Let's go. Chop.
Yeah, but if you're the schedule makers, makes it a little tough because you want to schedule an Aaron Rodgers game at Soldier Field against the Bears. He owns the Bears storyline, but if he's not there, this game kind of sucks.
That's true. It does. But
so I don't know that you can go full primetime on this one. The Bears did play the Steelers on Monday Night Football the last time they played. Justin Fields played a great game. Our dude, Cassius Marsh, friend of the program.
Love Cassius Marsh.
Had that whole incident with Tony Correnti, one of the more ridiculous officiating moments in NFL history. Correnti no longer is an official. I want this late afternoon. And I might be calling my shot with this one a little bit too, because you can flex out of that easily later. If Rodgers isn't even there, this can go to a noon game then, whatever. Late afternoon, I want this game with Tom Brady on the call, though. Aaron Rodgers, Bears, Tom Brady, who also had a lot of success against the Bears at Soldier Field. However, failed in hiring Ben Johnson, so he gets to witness Caleb Williams beating Aaron Rodgers. The coach he wanted beating Aaron Rodgers. All of that synergy going on at Soldier Field on a late afternoon game on the lakefront.
I like you bringing Brady into the mix here.
So I go next level on.
This is a good job.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't care when we get Brady, just as long as we get Brady. I'd like to see him talking about Caleb at least once this year on the call.
Yep.
So if it's Pittsburgh, no problem. That would be sweet. Since you mentioned late afternoon, Hoge, and I think it was your boy Boogie who put it out there. Somebody put it out there, opening up with Green Bay. I actually enjoy that. It was your boy Boogie. My guy. I do like that because there's Matt LaFleur wants to kill Ben Johnson before he's even played Ben Johnson, because Ben Johnson, let's be honest, got a little bit of big mouth right now, which is that's fine. Let's I like sports hate. That's cool.
But it's kind of fun how bothered Matt LaFleur is by it.
He's very bothered. I liked beating Matt LaFleur twice. If I was Matt LaFleur, I'd be like, were you the head coach? Are you kidding me? You're already talking?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that would bug me if I was Matt LaFleur.
Well, I can confirm it's bugging him.
Oh, no doubt. So, but I got the Packers in the late. I would like, this is where I really delve into what I would enjoy. You know, our tailgates are the greatest. I hope you guys come out next year. But our tailgates are even better when it's a 3:25 game. Because then I don't got to get down there super early. It's better for you, too. And
Greg's not yelling at you when you show up at
right.
8:15.
8:15. Should have been here at 8. All these things. A nice 3:25 window for a tailgate. Mm-hmm. That is and the Packers in town. Get a lot of Green Bay folk over there. That thing is sweet. So can we get a Bears Packers 3:25 on the lakefront?
So I got a little bit more specific with this one too. I want this on Monday Night Football. I don't necessarily care if it's the game at Lambeau or the game, whatever the first game is between Matt LaFleur and Ben Johnson. Typically, historically, I feel like that's been the game at Soldier Field. NBC really likes to be at Lambeau, so a lot of times that Bears-Packers game ends up on Sunday Night Football. I want this on Monday Night Football, though, because I want the Manning cast on this one, too. I want this rivalry to get to the next level, and I want the Mannings talking about Caleb versus Jordan Love and just everything that goes in with that. So I'm requesting Monday Night Football for the first Bears-Packers game. Get this Matt LaFleur, Ben Johnson rivalry going to the next level, and multiple highlights of the Bears beating the Packers 1-0 Bears in 2025, by the way.
Let me ask you this. who's going to have more pressure on them in that first Bears-Packers game, the Bears or the Packers? Because the Bears did win the last matchup, but we have the new coach.
I think it's on the Packers now a little bit. Like you could argue it the other way though. Ben Johnson sort of called Matt LaFleur out.
I mean, Ben's going to be walking into that stadium that day with a big smile on his face. Matt LaFleur is going to his rear is going to be so tight. I mean, it's going to be a very annoyed LaFleur.
TBS?
Tight butt syndrome? Is that what?
That's a Herb Lawrence reference. Tight booty syndrome.
He might have a tight booty syndrome coming in there. He's gonna look straight constipated the whole day.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
All right.
I mean,
I got one more request here as we end this segment though. You might have one more too.
Yeah.
I debated on this one too because I want to see Lions Bears early, but I think the homecoming game for Ben Johnson going to Detroit. Let's just keep it traditional on Thanksgiving. I'm curious to see what the networks do with this one, though, because they already know the Thanksgiving game is going to draw because it just does. So maybe doing Bears-Lions Ben Johnson game makes more sense in a different window where they can jack those ratings up a little bit more. I would just keep it traditional. Scene of the crime last year. Bears should have won that game. They blew it. Matt Eberflus got fired. Everybody saw it. Give us the contrast of what it looks like now in late November. Bears are rolling. They're a much better team. Ben Johnson's coming back to Detroit. Give me that Bears-Lions game in Detroit on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, see, this is where I'm going to go selfish.
Because you don't want to work on Thanksgiving.
I don't. I absolutely do not. If we are, that's great. Can't wait to spend another Thanksgiving with you. And if Barb brings treats again this year, that'd be amazing.
Well, if you don't work Thanksgiving, you might have to work on Christmas.
Well, as somebody who's proud Jewish man on the show here, Christmas no big deal. Thanksgiving is my Christmas, so there's that. But look,
yeah,
I'd actually like to start the first ever CHGO Turkey Bowl flag football extravaganza this Thanksgiving. If we could find a field to bring all our great people together somewhere, I'd like to organize that in Dare to Dream. Get Hoge out there, playing QB, whatever you want to do, rather than doing the show here. But, hey, with the Lions, I saw a bunch of people, including Detroit Lion fan Jim Richards himself, saying, let's go week one. If they open up with Detroit, that'd be awesome. If my Dallas thing doesn't come through, that would be sweet. But my last two, as I talk about things I'd like to see, I'm hoping that we get to go to Las Vegas this year. There's a dream trip for us. And it'd be way cooler if that game was later in the afternoon. So give me the Raiders at 3:25.
For you. It'll be a late afternoon game.
Yeah, great.
They're Pacific time zone.
Great. Perfect. That's what we need. I want the Raiders later.
It'll still be 1:25 there, though.
Yeah, I'd like it even later, but that's fine.
Okay, then then you're asking for a Sunday night game.
Okay, fine. 1:25 is good. I don't need to sleep till noon. Great. 1:25, tailgate going on at 10. We can have a nice late night Saturday night. That sounds like a lot of fun. And then I'm dreaming up the Bears being good for a moment here and them having Cincinnati on the schedule and seeing that game get flexed later in the year. So, there's this big matchup because Caleb is just that dude, and and all of a sudden the Bears late in the year they're in the thick of the playoff race, and they're going to flex Bears-Bengals to a nice Sunday night extravaganza. It's Burrow, it's Caleb, it's Bears, and it means a ton. So I'm dreaming up the Bears getting flexed.
I'd also like to request that the Bears-Ravens game gets played at 2 a.m. so that nobody watches it, because I think that's a loss.
Roquan's going to have 148 tackles
in one game. Be an NFL record. All right. We are going to talk about the big trade that went down this morning. Some of the Bears connections involved in that, but fun talking about the schedule. It's a week away. We will have the schedule covered for you, of course. But first, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use code CHGO365, deposit $10, place a bet for $5, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. I'm going to tell you about the basketball early payout offer. and the NHL early payout offer. I don't know if you guys have been watching these games. Whether you're watching the NHL players or the NBA playoffs, these games ain't over.
It's unbelievable.
So you're going to want to take advantage of the early payout offer because you're bound to use this to your advantage with one of these games. If you're a winner, say you bet on a hockey game, your team takes a 3-goal lead at any point, you're paid out. You won regardless of what happens the rest of the way. Parlay selections will be marked as winners, the whole deal. Download the app, use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Same thing for basketball. If your team goes up by 20, it's an instant payout regardless of how that team comes all the way back after Carman and I turned off the game and missed the ending. Okay? Breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5 win or lose. Sign up. Use code CHGO365. That's your code. Deposit 10. Place a bet for $5. You'll get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling or referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only.
And if you've ever tried to buy a home, get a loan, or just deal with money stuff in general, you know that it can be a lot. And that's why we are here to help you out with the great Rate app. The Rate app is the game changer, and you can get pre-approved for a mortgage in minutes. That's what they did for me. It was amazing. And I am the least organized person on the planet. It took literally minutes. That was sweet. Also, if you're thinking about a home equity loan or a personal loan, you can secure one in 15 days, under 15 days. And the Rate app also will help you find the best homeowners and auto insurance based on what you actually need. And here it is for you, the extra bonus. And by the way, this app, of course, is free. They've added 800 free wellness videos, meditation, nutrition, breathing exercises, stretching, everything that you could possibly need to feel better mentally and physically. It's on there. This is worth your time, and it's worth your investment. You're going to love it. And by the way, it's a great help to the show. So if you could just download that Rate app on your screen right now, we appreciate it. If you're stressed out about a loan or a mortgage, just let the Rate app handle it. Once that's covered, you get one of their free wellness videos, and you are chilling out. You're feeling great. You're proud of yourself. It's a big-time moment in your day. Download the Rate app today to get started.
All right.
Yes, Hoge.
A trade happened this morning, and kind of anticipating this one for a little bit. It's an interesting discussion. There's a couple. I don't know. It's one of those things that can be a Bears discussion if we want it to be. I think Carm wants it to be.
I've got angles.
I know Greg made a discussion on Twitter this morning while he was still laying in bed.
I pushed back on Honey Bear a little bit on his take. He didn't like that very much, but Honey Bear needs to be called out occasionally when he goes Honey Bear.
Well, George Pickens got traded to the Dallas Cowboys this morning. The Cowboys gave up a 3rd-round draft pick and a 5th-round pick in 2027. So that's 2 years away. They get back George Pickens and a 2027 6th-round pick in return. I mean, here's what I find interesting about this trade. There's a long history now at this point of the Steelers getting rid of wide receivers, and that being the end of that wide receiver, essentially. I don't necessarily think that's the case here with George Pickens, but there's plenty of warning signs.
Yep.
That the Cowboys shouldn't be making this trade. They have a defensive coordinator inside their building at the Star that I don't know if they consulted on this one or not. But if I was, before I was making this trade, I might have wanted to knock on Matt Eberflus's door and be like, hey, we're thinking about trading for a former 2nd-round wide receiver who's having some issues in Pittsburgh and acquiring him and bringing him in here. How do you think that'll go? I think Matt Eberflus would be like, I kind of got fired partially because of us trying to do that with Chase Claypool. It didn't really work out. I wouldn't have made this trade.
You wouldn't have?
I would not have made this trade.
Okay.
I just, dude, this George Pickens things. Have you guys been paying attention to this?
Yeah. Look,
it was just a few months ago. Mike Tomlin's just straight up, dude's got to grow up.
That's right. Called him out straight at it. Yes.
Well, I mean,
of course.
What's the success rate on this?
Well, the Cowboy, from the Dallas perspective, you've got CeeDee Lamb. You need to pair him with someone, right? Yeah. You're getting a receiver in the prime of his career on a 1-year deal for not a lot of money, a little over $3 million. So you're taking a flyer right there. If he plays decently and you don't want to sign him, great chance you're going to get a compensatory pick for him
in 2027.
Right. So there's
maybe, or it's a disaster and nobody wants to sign him.
That's fine. And if so, then you gave up a 3rd-round pick, so you took a flyer on a 3rd-round pick. I just there's a lot of Bears angles here. One, I'm glad that they're not making deals with Pittsburgh anymore. 2, because that didn't work out, and don't deal with bad organizations. And Pittsburgh, of course, looked around the NFL. Who doesn't know what they're doing? Let's call Dallas. Great. Let's make this deal. That is a good job by the Steelers. But George Pickens gets open. George Pickens has been not the best receiver in football, but he's a 1,000-yard receiver. He's a 60-ball receiver. He's in his prime. He's going to be paired up with the best receiver that he's played with. He could, in theory, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he has a great year. I do think it also has the Bear thing. Pickens was picked 52nd. The Bears took Jaquan Brisker 48. If the Bears tried to trade Jaquan Brisker right now, he would get nothing. I don't think you could even get a 6th-round pick for him. Well,
that was the funny thing about Greg's tweet this morning.
Well, he went to Kyler at 39.
He talked about how the Bears win because they extended Kyler Gordon.
Right.
I might be misremembering, but I always remember the George Pickens conversation with the Bears being versus Jaquan Brisker.
Right.
Not Kyler Gordon. Remember, they had 2 picks there in the 2nd round.
And Braggs is right. I mean, Kyler Gordon was a very good pick at 39. And apparently I made a face, he said on Twitter last year when we talked about how great Kyler was, and I gave the face. Maybe I did that.
You went Carm face?
I gave the Carm face because I was like, I don't think, I think probably somebody said he was elite, and I'm like, I don't know about elite. It was like I probably did that face. But I just think that there is, if Pickens goes and has a great year, it's going to make me also think about the Bears. The Bears last year gave him a 4th-round pick for Keenan Allen and paid him $20+ million a year for the 1 year here. So I think it was 24. And they were getting him for 3 for a 3rd-rounder, guy in his prime versus Allen, who I know that we were talking.
I'm going to push back on you on that.
Go ahead.
Really hard.
Yeah.
First of all, Keenan Allen had 11 more catches than George Pickens last year and 4 more touchdowns.
Okay.
Fewer yardage, but more catches and more touchdowns. They brought Keenan Allen to help bring Caleb Williams along. George Pickens would not have really helped that.
Fair point.
And the money didn't matter because they had a ton of cap space to use. The money didn't matter at all.
Well, you could have allocated those dollars in different ways. You could have paid $20 million. We could go through the list of guys that got paid last year. They did not end up paying themselves. Now it worked out. Like they didn't pay for Hargraves. They didn't pay. They weren't meeting the price for a bunch of guys.
I think making any type of argument that the Keenan Allen trade was bad is a tough argument.
Really,
I don't think it hurt them at all. There's only one area that I think it hurt anything, and that would have been Rome Odunze's target share. But I'm not even sure it hurt his development much because Rome Odunze constantly raved about how Keenan Allen was helping him with his route running.
I don't think Keenan was great for that locker room, man. I don't think he was an asset as far as getting the professionalism where he went. I don't think Keenan wanted to be here. I think it's pretty clear the Bears felt that way because they haven't even sniffed talking to Keenan.
I think Keenan Allen walked into Crazy Town and was like, what the hell is this?
Well, remember how it started? He was calling out Shane Waldron saying, you got to coach us harder.
He was the one guy who was actually calling shit out. I just did.
Okay. I mean, I'm in a hard spot to argue against him walking into Crazy Town because he was walking into Crazy Town. That's fair. But you could still, that dude was pretty, get me the hell out of here. And the fact that Caleb,
but that's on the Bears. That's not.
Yeah, but also Caleb bonded with Keenan. Like his best
Then you're making my point for me.
But I'm not, because he's gone, and now it would have been better if he wasn't here, and he would have bought it with
but
DJ.
It was always a 1-year rental.
What did that get you? What did that 1-year rental get you? You'd rather have had the 4th round pick. Come on. You won 5 games.
You could say that in hindsight, but at the time we were all celebrating it.
We celebrated when we got Claypool, and in hindsight, it was completely moronic.
That was different because if we did celebrate, it was for like 12 hours, and then every Pittsburgh Steelers writer in the world came on every podcast in the world. It was like, ha, 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 that was a dumb move. And then everybody was like, oh, crap.
Okay. Look, all I'm saying is that when you look at the deals, we paid $20 million for Keenan for 1 year in his 30s. They're getting a guy in his prime for $3 million who I would think is going to have maybe his best year in the NFL this year. That's all I'm saying. All right, you all want to push back on that? Feel free.
I don't think it's. Let's get Fran's take on this coming up.
We could get Fran's take. Let's get Fran's take.
We'll hear.
The Keenan deal was a great deal. It was a great trade.
That's not the argument. The argument it wasn't. I don't think it hurts you at all.
Oh, come on. That's $20 million in assets that you could have somehow spent in a better way. How about I don't know, maybe they could put someone on the offensive line who could do something so he wasn't getting killed 68 times. I get that some of that was on him. How about that? You're right, Guy Finley. I am upset they didn't save money to pay Sanborn. That's what this is all about deep down. That's great ending to this conversation.
Yeah, well, now the Cowboys have Sanborn too.
Good point. See? Now they got Sanborn and Pickens. And whoever said, you can't say that about Brisker. He was concussed. Jaquan Brisker was concussed twice in college. You made a bet on a guy who got concussed. It's a risky play. Now they made a bet on a tight end who's had shoulder surgery. That one better work out, damn it.
Sure you're trying to would you rather have Jaquan Brisker or George Pickens?
George Pickens. Yes, of course.
They just got rid of him.
And they got 60 catches and 1,000 yards for 3 years out of it, and they got a 3rd round pick for him. That is a better job than what's happening with Brisker. Come on.
Not to mention they went out and they got DK Metcalf earlier in the season. They do the exact same things. It was like kind of a odd clutter at wide receiver.
I don't know if the door's been closed on that. I don't know that we could possibly 100% say that was. Let's talk to the draft analyst next, who's evaluated these guys and what he thinks about it.
Chat's on fire today.
It is. All right, we're gonna take a quick timeout. We'll be right back. We'll bring in Fran Duffy to talk about this, and he's got a mock draft for next year already.
That's why he's the Franimal.
That's why he is. Let's level up your nicotine routine with Lucy, though. In the meantime, go to lucy.co/CHGO, and you can use promo code CHGO 2025 to get 20% off your first order. Lucy has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind, so that's always good. Here's the thing about Lucy. If you're looking for nicotine, they got a bunch of different flavors. One that you'll certainly want. Different strengths. So whether you just want a little bit of a kick versus maybe you're an experienced nicotine user and you want to go big time, they take care of you with all that. And again, the code is Lucy. The site is lucy.co, and the code is CHGO 2025 to get 20% off. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine, and nicotine is an addictive chemical.
It's a great day when we get to talk about our friends at Mando, the beautiful whole body deodorant. That's right. This is the good stuff. It's good for, this is in the copy, your pits, your balls, your thigh folds, your belly buttons, your butt cracks, your feet. That's right. That's why they did Mando. It's good everywhere. It was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated, and now you've got the good stuff. They got all these fresh scents. They got bourbon leather. They got Cloverwoods. They got Mount Fuji. They got Hoge's favorite, the Pro Sport. He loves a good Pro Sport. This is clinically proven to control odor better than a shower and with soap alone, and Lord knows we're all hoping that Greg Braggs is going to go out and buy the Mando starter pack. It's perfect for new customers. Comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice. There's the mini body wash. There's the deodorant wipes. They got all the good stuff here. Free shipping. I had it shipped right to me. It was beautiful. I'm head to toe Mando. Special offer for you, new customers, $5 off that starter pack. That's 40% off your starter pack. This is not a heavy financial commitment here. You want to get involved, use the code CHGO at shopmando.com. shopmando.com. Head to toe Mando.
By the way, I showed this to Steven right before the show. I'm 90% sure that Matt Eberflus delivered a UPS package at my house this morning.
He did?
Dude, this guy looked just like him. Didn't he, Steven?
Yeah, he really did.
My friend Mike BG Boy Charney, who came to our draft party.
Wait, what's his name?
Well, we called him BG Boy because he was my first ever intern on the great show, The Naked Truth About Sports, back in 1998. And we just called him BG Boy because he looked like he was just straight stoned every day and like was on the beach and chilling out. So we called him BG Boy. Thought it really caught on. He had a great interview one-on-one with Mark Messier where he went up to Messier. He was all fired up, but he was like, Mr. Messier. All right. Messier didn't, just turned him down. It was Mr. Messier. We played that for like weeks. Here's our intern, BG Boy, on the case. He wanted to get Messier. He tried to get Messier. We have copy of it. Mr. Messier. All right.
Sorry, I jumped the gun.
Anyway, he looked.
Fran
I'm
there.
sorry.
Fran's here.
What a great intro from
I'm
Fran
sorry,
Murphy.
Fred. The whole point of this is that he people were calling out for looking like Matty Eberflus, and he was so upset. But he looked straight like Flus. He was Flus at the party.
Sorry, Frank Thomas did that to me once too at a charity.
That's why I feel like all of us have been there.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's 100%.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
All right, Fran, welcome into the show. That was a weird intro with BG Boy or the Beastie Boys or the Beach Boys. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's good.
I don't know how much of that George Pickens discussion you just heard us having. There's, it's May, so we're, when we're not talking about which ESPN analyst is predicting the Bears quarterback, it wins the MVP award. We're doing revisionist history on the Bears draft picks. I don't know. What do you make about this whole, was George Pickens, was that a successful pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers? It seems like a stretch of an argument to be making right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of those, if you squint, you can make the argument for yes. And if you squint, you can probably make the argument for no. I was a little bit lower on Pickens just because of all of the, because remember, he was coming off the torn ACL. You knew about some of the personality stuff as well with him coming out of Georgia. And so I was definitely a little bit lower on him. I did hear the tail end of the debate there between Pickens and Brisker. I had a higher grade personally on Brisker. I had a starting grade. It was a strong safety class that year. And he was, to me, it was one of the better safeties of that group. Now, I wasn't as high on him, unlike Jalen Petrie and some of these other guys, but I did like Brisker, and I had a solid starting grade on him, whereas Pickens was a little bit further down my board.
Yeah, and I want to raise my hand, too. I was definitely part of that discussion. We had that discussion quite a bit going back to that draft. It was the first draft we had here at CHGO, Fran. And the Bears took 2 defensive backs when they didn't have a first-round pick, and a lot of people thought they needed offensive help, and I was certainly among those being like, hey, you sure you didn't need an offensive lineman or George Pickens, a wide receiver here? So I don't know that's a slam dunk to say that, we know for sure which one was better than the other at this point.
Fair enough. And I like Fran outing himself here that he was willing to. I mean, Brisker was concussed, twice at Penn State, correct? That's the number?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I had to go back and check all the notes there. I don't want to waste everybody's time, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it was at least once. Yeah.
But okay, he's not the first draft prospect in the history of the world to have 2 concussions in college. You don't cross out every prospect who has 2 concussions. Otherwise, Fran's life would be a lot easier. You'd only have to do 100 write-ups instead of 300.
It's my new rule. If you play safety and you've been concussed twice, you will be crossed off the list. You are not a second-round pick. You are okay. You can be a 5th-round flyer, but that's a warning sign. I don't think that's that crazy of a thought for the record. Hey, Fran, slight left turn here. If you had to make your bet, and I know you've already done this, so then just remind everybody. The best quarterback in this draft, not named Cam Ward, who would you put your money down on?
Probably Tyler Shuck. He would be that would be who I would probably saddle up to. And I think when you're looking at Shuck, his film was probably the most consistent of that group in terms of just pushing forward, like progress. What is the most like translatable things we saw from him college-wise, going into the NFL, and obviously draft placement. Now that we're sitting here after the fact, has something to do with that. I did have a higher grade on Shedeur, but not by much. I think Shedeur was just inside my top 50, so I was, not as high as many were, in the media on Shedeur. But I think when you're looking at Shuck, like I had him a little bit lower just because of the age and the injury history. But he was, I think, just outside my 50. So we're talking like, very, very close grades there. And obviously he's got the better shot to start right away, Tyler Shuck. So I think at the end of the day, that would be the guy I would probably saddle up to with that question.
Interesting.
Yeah. So Carm took a left turn. I'll go maybe even farther left. This has nothing to do with the draft, but we were talking about the schedule earlier, and we were making the case for the Bears to play the Eagles week 1 as the opener. You're in Philly. What would be the Philly reaction if that was the matchup in week 1? Because we know the Eagles are going to be the home team for that opener on Thursday Night Football. Just what do you think about it if it's Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams coming into town?
Yeah, I think that there would certainly be some buzz to it. I think that Philly and you guys, I think can you can agree with this because I think there's that same like chip on the shoulder of many Bears fans. I think Chicago and Philly are very similar in this way. I think there would be a lot of people in Philly like, why is this not the Chiefs? Why is this not the Bills? Why is this not the Ravens? Why is this not, you know what I mean? Like there would be a plenty of that. But at the end of the day, I think the Bears are going to have plenty of buzz coming into this year just because of what they have shown that they've built. I mean, you add Ben Johnson, you have Caleb Williams going into year 2. I think that there would be plenty of excitement, especially like after that initial rush with the schedule release here in the coming days. After that, I think it would be a lot of excitement for Caleb Williams and that group coming to the link.
I forgot to mention this earlier when that came up. I don't want to accuse Mike Tirico of tipping anything, but he was on Waddle and Sylvie the other day, and I heard it, and he was just, they asked him about the Bears and Ben Johnson, and he said it in kind of a intriguing way. I thought he was just like, I'm looking forward to seeing Ben Johnson and the Bears early in the season.
Ooh, Tirico, and the cat out of the bag, huh?
Just saying. All right. Fran has an awesome 2026 mock draft up at ALLCITY.
How does he do it?
Right now.
Seriously.
ALLCITY.com. For the sickos out there like myself, the mock draft is up, is ready to go. If you are a diehard, you got access to it. If you are not, you should scan that QR code right below Fran on your screen and get access to it. But we are going to tip the Bears pick regardless because we're going to talk about this. It was interesting because Steven, our producer, was like, I wonder what running back might be available for the Bears a year from now since they didn't draft one this year. And you did go running back in your mock draft.
Yeah, I went with do you guys refer to Notre Dame as local, like as a local product? Like, is there that? I feel like it's like Penn State and Philadelphia. It's like, kind of. But I ended up going with the Notre Dame running back, Jeremiah Love.
I say games of local interest when it's because we got a lot of ND.
Let me tell you how Notre Dame's covered in this town.
Okay.
If all of a sudden they're in the college football playoff, every TV anchor from the whole city is down there.
Yep.
For the game, but they're not there during the season for week 2 when they play Temple or whatever.
Well, when we actually had TV stations operating sports departments like we did back in the day, we'd cover Notre Dame. Now TV stations don't even cover college football, period. It's a miracle to get somebody out of Northwestern if they're good. So, never mind. That's a whole side note conversation there. What do you like about him, Fran? Give us how does he pop for you?
Yeah, I mean, really what stood out just watching Notre Dame on TV, and I also want to couch this, said this in the mock draft, like have not done deep dives on, I think there were like 30 of these players, like only 1 or 2 I've definitely have done like, all right, I had 3 or 4 games worth of study on. So this was almost like kind of setting the table for me, who are some of the first players I'll be studying. But I will say, like watching Notre Dame this fall, that offense went through Jeremiah Love in the run game, and he ended up getting banged up towards the end of the regular season. Wasn't 100% during the playoff run, but tried to gut it out. Did everything he could to try and will that offense to victory. And I applaud him for showing that toughness. But at his peak, this is a guy that's got burst to the corner. He's got the ability to create yards on his own through contact. There's a lot to like. He looked like a first-round caliber back. I'm excited to see if the film kind of backs that up as I do the deep dive.
Fran, a question for you. If Jeremiah Love was in this year's draft, where would you have had him ranked?
Good question.
Yeah, without having done the full stuff on Love, I would say just based off the flashes, my gut tells me he'd be in like that Almarian Hampton range. Like, so we're talking like, somewhere in that realm. But again, like once I do, 4 games, basically the way I'll approach it in the summer with a running back is, all right, let me watch 3 full games, and then I'm going to watch probably all of his touches from another 3 or 4, and then maybe pass pro from another 3 or 4, just to kind of get a sense of him as a pass protector, and then all of his touches against some of the best competition. So I'll watch a good dose of Jeremiah Love here in the coming weeks, and that will kind of paint the picture for me going into the fall. Like, is he going to be in that Almarian Hampton, like, middle first round, latter stage of first round, or are we talking like top 15 type of talent like what we saw with Ashton Genty?
Yeah, and with the caveat, do you have that same topic or something?
No, you can. I was just say a whole lot of love in the chat for Love. Bo Chanton's in. There's Cheesy Gordita Crunch. His love those for Steven, but there's a lot of love. Keep going.
Yeah, a lot of love. With the caveat, of course, that a lot can change. We know that between now, we got to see the season play out, the college football season. It's been largely already talked about, though, that next year's quarterback class is supposed to be a lot better than this past quarterback class.
Yeah.
And teams like the Steelers, we've weirdly talked a lot about the Steelers today on the show, are sort of waiting for next year. Where do you stand on how the 2026 quarterback class is starting to look like?
Yeah, so I had a handful of those guys go in the first round of this mock, just because I'm excited to dig deeper into the film. The one that I have studied, 3 games worth, was Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, and the reason why was he was eligible to go into last year's class as a redshirt junior, so there was a chance that he was going to come out, especially after the hot start that he got off to early last fall. And honestly, when I did those 3 games in October, early November, from early on the season, I had a similar grade on him as I had on Cam Ward, and I actually had him a little bit ahead of Cam Ward. Now the season kind of turned south a little bit. He threw some, had some multi-interception games there on the back end. Thankfully, decided to go back to school. So Nussmeier, I'm excited to see what he looks like here in year 2 as a starter for LSU. I think that he was a player that, to me, showed all of the passing traits you're looking for. The arm strength was certainly there, but a really fast release, consistent ball placement, both from a clean pocket and under pressure, really good touch, pre-snap command, toughness in the pocket. So I was excited when I got done going through my initial study of Garrett Nussmeier. I'll finish him up here this summer based off of 2024. But after that, Lenora Sellers from South Carolina, not a guy that I studied on tape, but just watching South Carolina on TV, the talent is apparent. And speaking to a lot of former Gamecocks this offseason, those guys all rave about his work ethic. He was the first freshman captain in school history last year, so he'll be a redshirt sophomore here this fall. I'm excited about Lenora Sellers, but this group overall, you're talking about Drew Aller from Penn State, another player, Cade Klubnik from Clemson, another player people are really high on. So this group, there's just a lot of names. Now, there's a chance that I watch Klubnik and I'm like, he's probably more day 3. This happens every summer where there's a handful of names where it's like, I'm not going. I know we're talking about him, but I don't know if he's going to necessarily be that high. Quinn Ewers at this time last year was viewed as a first round pick. He ends up going around 7, right? So it could be that some of these names could be more on that end of the spectrum, but there is plenty to be excited about at this stage of the calendar.
Quick story about Garrett Nussmeier. So he backed up Jaden Daniels 2 years ago. Okay. And Wisconsin played LSU in the Outback Bowl or whatever the hell it's called now. And Jaden Daniels sat that game out. Malik Neighbors played like 2 snaps, broke the record, and then sat the rest of the game, which I loved. But Garrett Nussmeier played that game, and I think it was by the end of the first quarter, I was like, this dude's an NFL quarterback for sure. Like this is a guy they've had behind Jaden Daniels all
he won
season.
MVP of the game. He was MVP of the game. It was his first start.
Yeah, and then he went on to play last year too. So by the time he gets to the draft, Fran, he's going to have played a lot of football, and that was just like the first impression. in a bowl game, being like, oh, this guy's got NFL talent for sure.
Yeah, he led a fourth quarter comeback in that game. He had a couple more last year. So he's one of those guys where if he has another season where, all right, maybe we cut some of these interceptions down. He threw 12 picks last year. Let's say he cuts that in half. Some of them are bad decisions, like late in the middle of the field. Cut some of that in half. I think you're looking at a guy that's going to go in the top 5. I saw Donnie in the chat had mentioned like Arch Manning. Yeah. I feel really strongly that he's going to go back for another season. I would be surprised if he's going to be in the 2026 class. I did not put him in this mock draft. I would be hard pressed to think that one of the Mannings is going to come out as a redshirt sophomore 1-year starter. Now, my friend Dane Brugler over at The Athletic made a really astute point that, so I don't want to take credit for this point, but if the New Orleans Saints had the number 1 pick and he had the chance to play for his childhood team that his grandfather played for and got drafted by, like maybe that would be enough to lure him away. But I think otherwise, I just think Arch Manning goes back to Austin for another year.
Yeah, that'll be a fascinating decision because it just, we don't see that anymore. Like a guy who comes into Texas where Quinn Ewers already was, and then Quinn Ewers didn't leave. He stayed the extra year, so then he sits for basically 2 years. I know he got some spot playing time here and there because of injury and stuff, but then he's finally become a starter in year 3, and then to stay for year 4. I mean, I guess he's got an uncle that
Peyton and Eli both did the same thing, at Tennessee and in Ole Miss. So, and that's the thing is that it's not like, he's got 3 years. He's only a redshirt freshman this past year. So he's got sophomore, junior, senior year still that he can come out. My guess is that he stays through his redshirt junior season. I think after year 4 is what I would expect that we would see Arch Manning.
So, Fran, another left turn for me here as I spent my morning kind of looking around the division and thinking who did well here. And one name that popped up was Isaac TeSlaa, who the Lions traded up for 28 spots, 32 spots, in the third round to draft. Now, this guy, a lot of people haven't heard of him. Hoge, have you heard of him?
Yeah, Louisville.
Right?
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
He went to
I was really disappointed on draft night when I learned that his last name wasn't Tesla.
Yeah, I was actually happy about that. That was a good switch. His dad played at Hillside College apparently, where he went there. Then he transferred to Arkansas. Didn't have a lot of catches, but this dude's like a freak athlete, track and field, hoops, the whole thing. The Lions traded up to get him. People were wondering what the hell why'd they do that? He's out of Michigan too, so I'm wondering if this is a name that, in your opinion, Bears fans are going to get to know really well and kind of be annoyed by because he's going to be a hell of a player for him.
Yeah, he was an interesting study just because, the tools were apparent. You watch him on tape and seeing him live at the Senior Bowl. I'm like, all right, I actually didn't do his film before Mobile just because he was a late addition. And so the production really was not there, as you mentioned. All the yards per route run numbers are really ugly. You're looking at any kind of analytic model with him from a on-field standpoint is not going to be pretty with TeSlaa. But when you're looking at the athletic profile, that's when there's a lot to be excited about. And I do think when you watch him on tape, even though there wasn't a lot of production, there was a lot he's got some savvy to him as a route runner. He can get after you as a blocker. He's got great size. The athleticism is clean. He's really quick and fluid in and out of breaks. He's got some top end speed. He just wasn't a featured part of that offense. There were other guys that they just featured more often. And so I think when you're looking at TeSlaa, they have to feel convicted because it wasn't even just, they traded up. I'm pretty sure they traded 2 future picks to go up and get him as well. So it was a pretty sizable move up there from Brad Holmes and from the Lions. And we know that, they when they are convicted on a player, outside projections be damned, like we're going to go get this guy. And so I think when you're looking at TeSlaa, this is a player certainly they are excited about. What can you expect in year 1? I don't know. Just because this is a guy that came into college, low pedigree. You mentioned starting at the smaller school, and that just was not a featured part of this offense. Is he going to go and be that piece right now for the Lions? I think that would probably be a stretch, but maybe by year 2, year 3, that's where we're talking about him more often as a part of that passing game.
Hey, Fred, homework assignment for you. Maybe you've already done it because you're and you're on top of everything, but. And maybe just off the top of your head here, on the whole, teams that bet on guys who have traits like TeSlaa, or teams that bet on guys like Monangai, now that's a 7th round pick, who don't have the traits but have the performance. Like, what works out better long term? That to me is just an interesting thought process, because I personally would bet against the trades. Who the hell's doing it out there and can actually play the insane game of football versus, okay, that guy's long and he can run a 4.3, but maybe has caught 24 passes in his career, something like that. But like Zay, who do we have? Zay Frazier, our guy who's done nothing, barely played, but you're betting on the trades.
Yeah.
He had 6 picks this year, Carm. He set a school record for interceptions this year. Maybe a couple of them might have been tipped passes, but there's still interceptions. They still count in the box score. Look, I think at the end of the day, there are multiple ways to skin a cat, and I think that now that the draft has been going on long enough that if there was one surefire way, let the traits be damned, give me the football player, or if it's we need these surefire traits, every team would adopt that and go with it. I think that now it's more just kind of what is your flavor and understanding your coaching staff. Do you have coaching staff that's going to be able to develop the most out of guys with high upside? If not, do you want the guys that have more of the competitive flair and the toughness and the technique aspect of the game? So it's going to come down to every single team. It's going to be different by position, but I can go through the last 10 drafts and say all right, this traits guy worked and this guy didn't. Can you find markers for the guys that where it didn't? How often did we have the Shamar Stewart conversation this year? Me personally, there are certain positions where I want the traits guy. I want to bet on upside. And then there are others where I want to be able to see it. But I'm also talking out of both sides of my mouth too, because, I mentioned this with Shamar Stewart. I was basically out on Shamar Stewart. My rating was never going to match with where he was going to go in the draft. But then I also love Jason Odafe Owe when he was coming out of Penn State, and his production wasn't quite as severe, but he also he didn't have a sack in his final career or his final year at Penn State. And so I think when you're looking at it, it's a player by player kind of situation, and every team they're going to have strong feelings about it either way.
All right, friend, it's good talking to you. I love that we can keep finding ways to talk draft. I mean, really, it's a year-round deal.
It's called phenomenal creativity and just phenomenal knowledge.
Listen, phenomenal everything. We got a couple more weeks left in me before I try and close my eyes a little bit. So we'll do a couple more of these.
I was gonna say, at some point, I demand you just disappear for at least 2 weeks. Not because I don't want to see your face, but because you deserve it.
I appreciate it. Well, Look, I've got some trips planned once we get into the month of June. So once we get there, I'll close my eyes for a bit.
There we go. All right, become a diehard. If you are a diehard, check out the mock draft. It's up at allchgo.com. Thanks, Fran.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we'll wrap up today's show with some snidbits and shout-outs and go off the board and make all the people in the chat angry.
That's what we try to do.
Carmen, if you would like to start.
Okay, sure. I'd love to, Adam. Thank you very much. There's a lot to cover today on this fine. And I know, Hoge, you're on top of it. You're there. But I'm going to start. Hoge knows me better than I know me, and it's kind of.
If you don't start with the backup quarterback's haircut, I'm going to leave.
Okay, fine. Let's start there. So there he is. Let's put him on the screen. Your next great starting quarterback, probably not for the Bears, but somewhere in the NFL. Have you ever seen a dude going into year 3 looking more ready to dominate than Tyson? Give me 17 Bagent. Look at that dude, Hoge. Look at the focus. Look at the military style. I'm not playing around. People think I'm all about the long hair locks. You know what? Don't need that at all. Here I come. Year 3. Bang. Bagent. I'm ready.
I don't deny he looks like a badass.
Straight badass right there, dude.
I like the long hair, though.
You like the flow.
I like the flow. I like the Bajan flow. But I'm a hockey guy, so, I'm biased.
I mean, listen, I hope Caleb throws for 4,500 yards this year and the Bears win 14 football games. But if something goes awry, that dude's going to be ready.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Because of his hair?
Because right now, if you called him up right now, he would be like underwater eating some form of kale and doing some other activity to expand his lung capacity and digesting the playbook while enlarging his biceps all at the same time. That's what he's doing right now.
I do have to say, in half seriousness, either Caleb needs to catch up and start doing the Bajan bootleg fakes carry out deal.
Yeah.
Or Bajan needs to stop doing it. Because it makes the starting quarterback look bad.
You think that Bagent needs to work less. So
Well, that's why I said half serious. It'd be great if Caleb would just do that too, but
you know that
if he doesn't, then Bagent needs to stop.
So in this drill, Bagent pitches to the running. All the quarterbacks, they pitch to the running back, and then they go the opposite way, and they basically are.
He runs like 100 miles an hour towards the sideline, carrying out his fake.
Right, and Bagent goes about 10 yards down the field. If Caleb started doing that and went to 11 yards, Bagent would go to 12. He literally would do the.
No, probably. Hey, quick reminder, one more reminder. Become a CHGO diehard. Top of the hour of the show. Appreciate everybody watching, listening. Hit that like button. Subscribe. ALLCITY.com to become a diehard. We should also tell people about the golf outing before we get out of here, too. Cookout Classic coming up. We're about a month away. It's June 6th. If you haven't been to one of our golf outings, they're phenomenal.
They are phenomenal.
We should get Fran to come to this one. Village Links of Glen Ellen. I believe Pat Norton booked this one, and it's an 8 a.m. shotgun start. We have a lot of fun. And if you think that logo looks cool, they give out gifts. And at least in the past, you would get a that logo would be your ball marker that they give you in your golf cart.
That's good. That's a nice little. Yeah.
You can come out and play with us. It's a lot of fun.
Listen, I have no friends. If somebody wants to play in my foursome, let me know. I'd love to hang out with some CHGO listeners and go, for a nice 4-hour extravaganza. Otherwise, Bragg's going to bring out his friends, and they're all going to wear those Bragg's outfits. And
well, last year that happened, and the guy they threw in what turned out to be our threesome was Tiger Woods, and it was great. And then the third guy was Kevin Kaduk, and he brought everything else down.
Yeah, no, I mean, Kevin's trying.
I'm just being honest.
He's making an effort out there.
Yeah,
Kaduk, I'm assuming that this is going to be his best softball season. We start up on Monday.
He comes to softball.
He's shown up like twice.
That's 2 more times than I have.
Yeah. By the way, our softball team this year sponsored by the store. Check it out on Halstead. My guy, that's right. Kevin, what's up over there? No,
but he should be.
He will be. And we're going to have when we win the three-peat, which is...
It's above 60 degrees and it's sunny. Why is he not out there shirtless?
He's working hard, man. Store needs attention. And he also might be in Arizona at his palatial estate with people hanging out.
All right.
You want to go next?
I just really have one shout out today to the Utah Mammoth. They've named their team.
The Mammoth?
They are the Mammoth.
Volleyball?
They're coming for you.
Sport? Am I supposed to know this?
Do you generally not know what he's talking about?
The Utah Mammoth?
Don't Google it.
I am Googling it. I thought that Utah already had their hockey team.
They do, but they didn't have a name.
Did they play this year?
Do you know what their name? Do you know what their name was this past year? Yes, they played. They've already played a season.
They didn't have a name for a whole year? What kind of organization is this?
The Washington football team?
That's different. They were in a situation.
Well, so was Utah. They found out overnight that they were getting a team.
How hard is
the
it to
team
go?
Just move there.
What were they this year? The Utah Utes?
The Utah, that's a college.
What's a Ute?
I kind of want to keep dragging this along to see. No, I don't. It's painful. The Utah Hockey Club existed.
Oh, yeah?
They came to the United Center. I was at the game. It was a great game. The Hawks lost, but it was a great game.
Name a player on Utah. You love what?
I actually cannot. That's
Neither can anyone else. Don't worry about it.
You just did it again, by the way. You're like, I didn't even know it was a team, but you name a player on the team.
Well, you're Mr. Hockey.
Yeah, I don't.
You're Hockey Hoge.
Well,
you can't name a mammoth.
You cannot name a mammoth.
You want to get on me for not knowing they're the mammoth, but you can't name a mammoth.
Don't do that.
This is a Braggs argument. I'm doing a great job.
Regardless, they wanted to be the Yeti, which would have been a cooler name.
Yeah.
And Yeti Coolers decided to be jerks about it. And they couldn't become the Yeti because of trademark reasons. I think that's ridiculous. Would have been free advertising. There's a million things you could have done there. I'm going to boycott Yeti coolers unless they become sponsored. Then I'm all in. I actually have a Yeti, so I'm not anti-Yeti. I'm anti-Yeti not allowing Yeti to be the name of the Utah Yeti. Instead, they're the Utah Mammoth, which was also a cool name. The logo's cool as well. So just a shout out to the Mammoth, which are a real hockey team that Carm did not know existed.
Well, I'm reading about it now, Adam, and the Outlaws apparently was right there.
I didn't like the Outlaws.
Didn't like the Outlaws?
No.
Do you know how many votes were cast in Utah about this? How many people cared about this name?
300 people that live there?
It got 850,000 votes. There's 850,000.
If the Bears had to vote on the name, which would obviously never happen, but they would have 850,000 votes in an hour.
It'd be 8.5 million in 4 seconds.
More people would show up for that vote than show up to a Chicago mayoral election to vote.
They would.
That's actually true.
Which is slightly
1,000%.
Slightly sad, but accurate. The team will continue to work converting the Delta Center into a more suitable home for hockey. What's wrong with the Delta Center for hockey?
There's like a whole part of this arena where you can't see the ice. It's concerning. We've talked about this before on the show, though. Do you remember the Wi-Fi? The name of the Wi-Fi there inside the Delta Center?
Oh, yeah, it's Jordan Pushed Off.
Jordan Pushed Off is the name of the Wi-Fi.
Speaking of that, that's a great snippet. 36 years ago.
Jay, he didn't know the Utah Hockey Club existed.
Jay, I apologize, but Hoge says he says Hoge says he's Mr. Hockey. I asked him to name a mammoth, and he couldn't do it. So take that.
Snuffleupagus. There you go. I should have been up with that one. Great line by Jay Zawaski.
R.I.P. Snuffleupagus.
Watch CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
Blackhawks podcast. Best podcast around here.
It's coming up at 2. Unless Carm drags each shout out up for 3 minutes.
Well,
then we'll be here for a while.
36 years to go today, May 7th, 1989. Greatest day in this city in sports that didn't involve winning a championship. It's because that's when the Bulls actually announced that they were going to win 6 championships, if you were paying attention. And that was the shot against Cleveland. I can see Craig Elo falling to the ground right now. Ron Harper should have been guarding him. Lenny Wilkins, you're an idiot. Probably wouldn't have mattered anyway. But Sellers to make the inbounds pass. The inbounds pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. Shot on Elo. Good. The Bulls win it. We win it. And that was 36 years ago today. I ran through my house 17 times, tears flying down, called up my buddy Matt Galkin, who was a Cavs fan, screamed at him, and then went on to beat the Knicks in the next series, and then took Detroit to 6. We're up 2-1 in the series, and 36 years ago today, baby. What are you looking at over there?
I'm looking at the Utah Mammoth roster. Just to check if I should have known any of their names. The only one is Nick Schmaltz, who's from Madison, Wisconsin, and was a Hawk.
You didn't know Schmaltz?
Other than that, I don't feel any shame whatsoever for not being able to answer that question.
Okay. 2 more quick shout-outs. One.
Bragg Snuffleupagus died?
Yes, he did. He was canceled. Maybe he'll be back in 4 years. But at any rate, the point is that Northwestern, this is
what a transition.
Braggs, you'll like this. Northwestern does not produce NBA talent.
This is actually a cool story that maybe only Carmen and I care about, but it is kind of cool.
As much as I love my Wildcats and their 3 tournament appearances in the last 7 years and all the things, and my guy Brooks Barnheiser, who's getting invited to the G League tryouts or whatever, they don't produce NBA players. You got to go back to, there was a Rex Walters, he transferred to Kansas. Billy McKinney was the greatest Wildcat of all time, played in the league for 8 years. But Pat Spencer, if you're watching NBA Buckets right now, this dude was like the greatest lacrosse player ever for 4 years. Had 1 more year of eligibility, decided to go to play basketball at Northwestern as a 5th-year grad senior. And he got there, I'm like, this team is pathetic. We're picking off lacrosse guys? Who the hell is this guy? He sucks. And then by mid-season, he was freaking awesome, doing everything.
Really good.
Insane athlete. dunking the basketball. I'm like, this guy's incredible. And then I was like, I think he can make some money in Europe probably if he wants to keep going. Well, he kept going, played in the G League, and now he had 6 games with the Warriors last year, and now he's playing in the playoffs. And he's had 2 11-point games. And he was awesome last night, and they won because he helped step in there with Curry getting hurt with his hamstring injury. Pat Spencer, shout out! You made shout outs today, buddy. That's phenomenal.
Just to recap, 4-year lacrosse player.
It's like Dion
goes to Northwestern for 1 year to play basketball. Disappears to Europe for like 3 years.
He's 28.
Goes into the G League. At 28, finally gets his chance in the NBA, and is now playing legitimate minutes.
Legitimate minutes
in the playoff. Like, that's an insane story. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't. He looks like a rec league player out there until he does something. He threw up a hook last night. I was like, what is that? Like, I mean, it was like an 88-year-old shot that went in, but he's a phenomenal athlete, and he's making it work. He's also got, he's got a highlight of him throwing it down in the NBA on somebody at the rim, which was sweet.
Probably looks better than me.
Yeah.
The rec league Hoge is, boy, we're in the LeBron James decline.
Yeah, no, it's
rough.
It's all over here too. Believe me, it's real depressing. And last shout out, maybe the best shout out of the day,
Steven.
Nancy Faust.
We should have a Steven cam during this segment.
Are you up? You want to get out of here?
You're fine. I just never know when.
This is the last one. Okay. I promise you.
We need Steven Cam during shout-outs.
The White Sox bringing back Nancy Faust on Sundays.
Didn't we do this one the other day?
We did not.
I swear we did. Somebody in the chat, didn't he bring up Nancy Faust like 2 days ago?
I don't care if I did. I'm bringing it up again. Nancy Faust. Nancy Faust is a legend, is iconic, puts a smile on your face. When she plays music on Twitter and I play it, I get excited. And now she's gonna be back on Sundays. Nana nana, hey hey goodbye, like on the organ. Nobody does it better. I'm super excited that Nancy's gonna be there. She deserves it. Nicest lady ever. I saw her at Walker Brothers having pancakes 2 months ago with her family, and she was. I went up. I was like in awe. Nancy, Carm. CHGO Bears, longtime Cub fan, but whenever I went to Comiskey Park, you made the day. You're the greatest, and she so appreciated it. So anyway, Nancy's back. That's awesome.
Okay,
let's go, Nancy.
I do love Nancy Faust. Somewhere in the world, there's a picture of me as like a 4-year-old with Nancy in the organist booth behind home plate.
Do you know the longtime organist at the United Center / the stadium that retired?
Yeah.
What's his name?
I'm forgetting his name, but I was there for the last game.
Frank Pellico, my guy. Pellico. How about Wrigley? Who was on the Lowry organ? That would be Gary Pressey. These are the people that matter. Yeah. Gary Pressey, Nancy Faust, Frank Pellico.
Pellico, I should have known. I blanked. I was at I actually got teared up when they did the tribute to him. That's a true story.
See?
And then I forgot his name 2 months later.
I cried when Tommy Edwards left the Bulls, the original PA guy, before Ray Clay came in. And then all the Johnny-come-latelys fell in love with Ray Clay, who was great, but I was a Tommy Edwards guy.
Okay, Wyatt Carey, we had to get super chats here. $20 super chat. Thank you, Wyatt. Happy to report I scored in the 83rd percentile yesterday on the ASVAB. Carm?
Yeah, no.
I challenged the Bears with the tall task of being in the 83rd percentile of all 32 teams, placing them in the top 6. F Green Bay and bear down, baby.
Whatever you're talking about, Wyatt, we appreciate your spirit.
Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for your service, Wyatt.
Yes.
Straight hero.
That's awesome. Bears 83rd percentile? Thoughts? Okay.
I'm more into the fact that Wyatt is a cool-ass dude, and it's a fair challenge thrown down by Wyatt. He's entitled to do that.
Bears on Kauai, our guy. 3rd year, and he has been here since the start. 3rd year renewal shirt on the way. The franchise. Another reminder that we learned recently. You renew your diehard every year, you get another shirt.
Yeah. And
not just a sign-up. When's
the next time we're going to get Hoge Hawaii?
It's been discussed. It might be tomorrow.
I think you need a Hawaii.
There's It's in the rough plans. I do.
All right. Well, just know by the end.
The issue is what to do with the kids.
Just know that I got a lot of summer vacation planned in my head that I'm looking forward to taking.
Same. Well, Hollywood Brags will do the show.
It'll work out.
Do it solo for 3 weeks for us.
Hey, we need a little. Everybody needs time off from us, and we need just makes us that much better. Come back so fresh and ready to go. It's good for everyone.
Stanley's got a $1 super. Thank you, Stanley. Appreciate the support. Garden Hoser,
Sweet,
formerly known as Garden Yay, depending on who's saying his name. So CHGO went Hollywood yesterday. Well deserved. Bear down.
We did.
What's the number one thing you learned about that whole thing?
That I'm terrible at acting and that I want to be an actor because you get so pampered, it's ridiculous. They had more food in here than we've had some great spreads. This was unbelievable. Okay, see, I
that is actor Carm right there.
I was supposed to smile and like that smile's terrible. I don't even like, the hair is looking.
You and Greg were having some smiling problems yesterday, I will say. Just be your natural smile. You guys both have great natural smiles.
I couldn't
You're
get
trying too hard on the smile.
I was trying too hard. I couldn't relax. It's a bad job. I apologize to Walmart business. I think they're going to cut me out of the commercial after that part. I really don't think that scene's going to make the cut. That's my guess.
I got to be honest with you. What would your reaction be if like that commercial comes out and you're not in it?
I'd be massively sad and hurt, but I would understand.
Okay. I might throw something.
Whoever just said in the chat that I need to listen to more Delilah, you're correct. Delilah. Can never listen enough.
Crystal.
Anthony, thank you. Oh, Crystal.
$10 super chat. Always a great way to end the show. Haven't sent a super since the draft. Yeah, because Carm pissed her off. That's why. You're costing us money, Carm, as a company. You're not nice to Crystal. Carm, some bad takes today, but I still love you. Great show, guys. Maybe I'll come golf for my birthday, but I have no idea what I'm doing. Love you all and bear down.
Crystal, we want you out to golf, but remember, softball is Monday, and you're the catcher. So
You're the catcher.
Let's go. We lost one player. Well, we lost about 4 players, but we need you, Crystal. Know that. And by the way, I'm holding tryouts. Anybody else want to hit me up in the Discord who wants to play softball? I need your credentials. As in,
can you play or not?
Will you bring beer? Something of that ilk.
Carm should have listened to me. I told him to go out on top like Jordan. Now he's trying to hodgepodge this thing together.
Ernie Skadden called me from WGN today, and he's like, how's your squad looking? I was like, we're going to win it. And everybody knows it. Ain't that right, Wells?
Ernie, mind your own damn business, all right? You stay out of CHGO softball business, worry about your own squad. Don't call up asking for scouting reports. Carm's dumb enough to give them to you.
Kevin Wells works at
Call me instead. Ernie Skadden, the great voice of Hoge and Johns, by the way.
Yeah.
That's who he's talking about.
Kevin Wells, by the way, works at WGN and also moonlights over here. He's welcome to come and play for us and play for a winner, or he can play for that bum squad over there.
I think
whatever
actually
he wants
he
to
needs
do.
to make a decision.
Yeah.
No, this needs to be decided. Figure it out.
Wells, do you want to play for a winner, or are you just going to sit there and play for Ernie?
It's a great logo. I suggested WGN do that.
You guys lost some soldiers. I think we might be ready this year. We got a soldier coming back from our championship team, too. We're pretty excited about it.
See, all these people, they just come and say these things, and it's just like...
Pretty excited about it. I don't know.
Who? What's his name?
Chad Maxwell.
Yeah.
You remember
Chad Maxwell's coming back?
Yeah.
He's pretty good.
I mean,
he's pretty good.
That's an iconic name. Let me tell you how scared I am about Chad Maxwell. I think the words are 0.0. We're coming at you, Maxwell, and you, Wells. No,
don't worry. I'll fill in for you guys, though.
Okay, good.
I'll be around.
We need
you. Allowed?
No, GN. Yes, it's allowed. GN's got a very good team. We've been fortunate to beat them. Last year they were terrible. It's kind of because they lost Joe Brand. Brand was the heart and soul of that team.
He's probably winning championships in Pittsburgh right now.
He's just dominating for the Penguins.
Does Dave Ennett ever come out play for WGN?
No. Nobody.
Then I respect that.
No
Respect
Ennett, no Kevin Powell, no John Williams, no Lisa Dent, no Bob Surratt.
It's kind of like this place.
It's so much. I made a plea in the meeting earlier this week. Hey, softball Monday, straight crickets. No one's coming out. I think I might have to take this personally at this point.
All right, Bragg's ending the show with a $2 super saying, I will not do a show. It was nice knowing you guys. Greg got on the flight to Hollywood with the rest of the crew that was here.
It's very nice of him to weigh in from the massage parlor that he went to after his 2 days of being pampered and working very hard.
I have to say, I enjoyed the or was her name Amber?
Amber was amazing.
Amber was fantastic. She'd come and fix my hair every 30 minutes.
It's the greatest thing ever.
Fantastic. I was a little insulted. That my hair needed to be fixed every 30 minutes, but
She told me my hair was perfect.
Yeah. In fairness, she also said that to Greg.
Well, neither of you.
It doesn't mean anything to me anymore. Forget it.
Steven, you do have perfect hair, and Braggs has no hair, so very little hair these days.
We got a haircut. All right. It was fun. That's all I can say about it. Okay,
we gotta go.
Business for the next few days. We do need to go.
Yeah.
There's no live show tomorrow because we are covering rookie minicamp this weekend. We'll have live shows for you Friday and Saturday at 2 o'clock, wrapping up those 2 days of Bears rookie minicamp. Tomorrow we will have a mini pod in your feed, though, so look out for that. There will be a mini pod coming your way tomorrow.
That'll be live at noon.
Live at noon in your feed. And on YouTube, right here on CHGO. We got CHGO Blackhawks coming up at 2 o'clock. Cubs post later on in the day. And Bulls at 4. That's going to do it for us. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the mini pod and live Friday at 2 o'clock after rookie minicamp.
We all silly like the mayor.